Hey, how's it going? James here with a follow-up on my prior video where I was using a tiny little PC for a Linux box and my dissatisfaction with it. As I had mentioned in that video, I was looking at a server. That deal had fallen through. It was almost exactly what I wanted, but I wasn't willing to pay the price that the gentleman was asking for, considering its age, and I think I did okay with the replacement that I went. And that would be right here. Tiny little box, pretty much exactly the same form factor as the one that I was complaining about. But this is a 6th gen Dell Optiplex 3040. And this thing has exceeded my expectations fully. It's actually a pretty nice little box, super quiet. Came with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD or 250 gig SSD, something in that neighborhood. And it runs Linux really friggin' well. As you can see, I got it going behind me, and it's not without its faults for me. It's still a learning experience, but it's been a fun learning experience, albeit the little bit of time that I've had lately. Things are starting to slow down at the hospital, so that's bad for the wallet, but it's good for mental health in terms of just being able to unwind and enjoy little projects like this again. But yeah, this it's great. I have zero complaints. Would you be using this for a gaming PC or anything like that? Of course not. But for my purposes, like I said, learning Linux and actually utilizing it on a day-to-day basis, fantastic. And the nice thing with this versus buying an actual, one-use server is, well, look, I can use it right here on next to my desk. I would have never done that with an actual one-use server. It would go in a server rack or stuffed in a corner of a basement, and it wouldn't be something that I would carry up here. One, the fan noise. Secondly, just form factor would be stupid to put it anywhere else. And yeah, the power usage. This runs on, I think, like a 60 watt power supply, which is great, next to zero hydro, and that's 60 watt peak, so it more than likely is running off of less because I'm not pushing it that hard. So yeah, I'm very happy. Like I said, it's still a learning experience for that. Now, as for the other one that I had mentioned that I was unhappy with, I had a few people chime in. I believe the one that gave me the most thought was actually Nintendo Hodge. He threw out saying that apparently these things are well known for running kind of cruddy with less than 8 gigs of RAM. 4 gigs apparently it's kind of a well-known factor apparently with these. I wasn't unaware of it. But I did not upgrade that one to 8 gigs of RAM. One, I didn't want to spend the money on it. And two, I decided to go digging through my parts box and found another used SSD. Swapped it out with that one, and it has improved its performance to the point that I would be happy using it over this. Not a chance. But it's still, I would say it's gotten to the point that it's usable. So it has been deployed in the server rack. I'm using it for a few other things that I wouldn't use up here. So yeah, that one there, it's not going to e-waste or anything. I am actually still using it. And yeah, that's kind of where I landed with this whole little learning Linux project. Like I said, plenty of things for me to figure out in the future. Plex was the main one that I kind of had an issue with. Trying to make it see an external drive, it just would not work for me. I don't know what I was missing. I spent hours on forums and tutorials. I could not get it to see it for whatever permissions or whatnot that I couldn't seem to get it to sort of mesh with in terms of Plex. So that's something that I'd like to figure out in the future because this holds one 2.5-inch drive. I can't really expand its storage too much beyond that, especially for Plex services right now. So I need to figure that out. So if anyone has anything that you could leave in the comments or that would be maybe a little bit beneficial for me to figure that out, that would be great. Other than that, maybe if I have to use this as a Plex server, without going the external drive route, I'll just buy like a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte drive and just load this thing up with that. And once that space is exceeded, just start removing files as new ones go on, that kind of thing. But yeah, from there, things are going positive on my end. Like I said, hopefully a little bit more free time for me so I can do these vloggy type videos. But what I really want to get back into is on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, hopefully would be great. You know, reviews and products and all that kind of thing. Like the first one that I really want to touch base on is the wireless Go 2. I don't really like using these lav mics. I don't really, well, not really, I really don't like being directly connected to the camera because let's say the doorbell goes off and I'm not paying attention and I jump to go and answer it. Guess what? The DSLR camera is going to be coming off the tripod with me, hitting the floor, and I spent too much money on this thing. It was used, but I still spent too much money on it to have that kind of calamity. So going the wireless route would be great. And these things are supposed to be pretty darn highly recommended. So this would be one of the first things that I'd like to touch base on in terms of a new product. From there, I have like a fairly decent collection of old laptops. I'd say between, call it 10 to 14. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head right now. But maybe showcase all of those as sort of like a retro hardware kind of thing. And I'd like to sort of get into those maybe like once a month kind of deal as well. And other things too, like, you know, video games and all that kind of stuff, and live streams, and all the things that I would like to do, but just haven't had the time because work was preventing that. But work was preventing it in the best possible way because I'm making money. So I'm definitely not complaining about working, that's for sure. Anyways, that's about it for this quick little waffle. Hopefully you're all doing well on your end, and hopefully I will see you next time. Have a good one.